Alright, this video is to show you how to format your research paper according to the most recent APA style guidelines. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have 1-inch margins all the way around your page, and that is the default for Microsoft Word, so as long as you haven't messed around with the margins, you shouldn't need to do anything there. The next thing that you want to do is make sure that your paper is double spaced. So I'm in the Home tab, and I'm going to move over here to where it says paragraph, and this area here is the line and paragraph spacing section. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to make sure that 2.0 is selected. That stands for double spacing. Then I'm going to hit enter twice. What I want to do here is I want to format my title page, and for APA citation you have 5 lines of text that are going to be on your title page, and those 5 lines of text need to be centered in the top half of the first page. And so I find by hitting double space and hitting enter twice, that will probably start you off at about the right spot so that all of your information gets centered in the top half of the page. You don't want it centered in the middle of the page, you want it centered within the top half of the page. Alright, so then my title, so all the information that I'm putting in is going to be centered within that. So up here at the top, the default is align left, so that basically means all of your typing starts on the left-hand side of the screen. But I want it to be in the middle, so I'm going to click on center, and now I can click in, I can type in rather my title. So you can see with my title I'm using mixed capital letters. So what that means is all of the really important words like nouns and verbs get capitalized. Also, the first word of my title gets a capital letter, and also any word that comes immediately after a colon is going to get a capital letter. But other small words like prepositions and articles, if they're in the middle of the title, they don't get capitalized. Alright, then I'm going to hit enter to move to the next line, and the next line is my name. Hit enter again, and then I'm giving my my class information. So in this case it's academic upgrading, and it's the ACE course specifically. Enter again, and now I put in the name of the teacher who's going to be marking my assignment. Hit enter again, and then I put in the date that I am submitting the assignment, and don't forget to include the year, and don't forget to put in a comma and a space there. So that's all the basic information that I need for my first page, for my title page. And if I scroll here, I can kind of see, yeah, I think that looks like it's about in the middle of the top half of the page, so that's good. One other thing I want to do, actually I'm going to copy this title because I want to put it on the second page as well. So I'm going to copy that, and then to move easily to the second page without pressing the enter key a bunch of times, I'm going to click on the insert button, and I'm going to click on page break, and that brings me, as you can see, to the second page. I'm still centered, I can see that because the cursor's in the middle of the screen. So I'm going to right click and click on paste. There's my title again on the second page. Fantastic. Okay, so now I'm back to the first page, and I'm going to click somewhere in the first page so I get back here, because the next step is one that people typically find a little bit tricky, and for good reason. There's a number of small things that you need to do here in order to format your paper so that you've got page numbers and running heads done correctly for APA format. So let's go through that together. So the first thing that I want to do is, again, I'm in the insert section, the tab up at the top, and I want to click on header. So that's over here, sort of on the right hand side, and I'm going to click on that drop down menu, and I'm going to ignore all these built-in headers, because the one that I want, actually I have to custom make. So I'm going to click on edit header. Okay, I've done that, and then the next thing that I need to do, and this is important, here in the middle of the screen you see it says different first page. Give the first page a different header and footer from the rest of your document. That's what you want to do, because the way that your header looks on your first page, on your title page, is going to be a little bit different than how you want it to look on all of the subsequent pages. So put a check mark in that different first page option. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to do is add in a page number. So on the left hand side I'm going to click here where it says page number, and I click on it, so it brings down this drop-down menu, and I'm going to hover over the top of page, and so it gives me all of these options. What I want, the option I want, is plain number 3, because I want my page number to be justified to the far right of the page. So I'm going to click on plain number 3. Okay, great. It's given me a number 1 there. Perfect. Now I'm going to type in my running head. Now, because this is the first page, it's going to look a little bit different here. So I'm actually typing the words running head, capital R, capital H, and then a colon. And then in all caps, I'm putting in an abbreviated version of my title. Now, I'm not putting in my whole title because it would take up the whole top part of every page in my document, and it's going to look overwhelming to the reader. So I'm just putting in an abbreviated version. I want to make sure, though, that the abbreviated version contains some meaningful content. So really, I want it to be the topic of my paper. So here, that's industrial wind turbines. That works out well. Okay, but the problem is now everything's jammed up on the right-hand side, and that doesn't look good, and it's not correct formatting. So now the trick is I'm going to click here. So this tab has opened for me because I'm within the header section, and I'm going to click on Insert Alignment tab, and I need to change it from center to right. It should still align relative to margin, and the leader should still be none. Click OK, and bingo, there is my running head for my first page. Now I'm going to scroll down to the second page. You can ignore everything about the footer. So here I'm on the second page, and you can see the running head and the page numbers aren't here. That's because we had checked off that different first page box. So the computer knows, well, you don't want the same thing on the second page, so what do you want on the second page? So here we're just going to repeat what we've already done. So I'm clicking into the header box. Again, I'm going to page number. I'm going to hover over top of page. I'm going to select plain number 3. Oh, look, okay, good. It has put in the page number there. Now I'm going to put in my running head. Remember, my running head was industrial wind turbines. Now notice I didn't have to put in the words running head. Okay, we've done that on the first page, so the reader understands that you've identified the running head, so you're not going to do it every time. That's what makes all of your subsequent headers different from your first header. Again, I've got everything jammed up on the right-hand side, so once again I'm going to click on Insert Alignment tab, click on Right, make sure it says Relative to Margin, Leader is None, click OK, and perfect, there is my header. So if I'm satisfied with all of this, then I can close the header and footer boxes, the tool box. So I'm just going to click on this big red X here, and there we go. If I scroll up, I can see here's my running head, industrial wind turbines with page number 1. On the second page, there's the running head industrial wind turbines without that introductory running head information, and page number 2. Fantastic. Okay, so now I can get started with actually typing in my essay. Probably I want to save this first, so as you know, you're going to go to File, and then you're going to click Save As before you do anything else. So save your work, and then come back here and you can start working on your actual paper. So the first thing that goes in your paper, of course, is your introductory paragraph. So you're going to put that immediately after your the title that you have here on your second page, but you don't want your whole essay to be centered. So the first thing that you're going to do is change the alignment to align left. So I'm going to click there, and you can see now my cursor is where it's supposed to be on the left-hand side. Because this is a paragraph, I'm going to use the Tab key to indent 5 spaces, and then oops, I don't want this all capitalized either. And then I'm going to write my paragraph here. So you'll have to pardon me and imagine that this is some fabulous introduction to the topic of industrial wind turbines. So because this is my introductory paragraph, there's no header, no subheading needed for this because it's assumed that every essay will always start with an introduction. So we don't need to put a header there. So when I'm done that introductory paragraph, I'm going to press Enter. But now it's time for a subheading because I want to introduce my first mini essay. So I've hit Enter, and my subheading should be centered and bolded. So again, I'm going to go back up here to the paragraph section, click on that center button. Over here on the left, to the left where it says font, I'm going to click on that dark B, which means bold, and I'm going to put in my subheading, and in this case it's IWTs. Oops, sorry, nope. It's drawbacks of IWTs. I hit enter. Now again, my cursor's in the wrong spot. I want it to the left, so I'm going to click on that left justification, and I'm going to click on the B to turn off the bolding. Again, I'm going to hit the tab key so that my paragraph is indented, and now I'm going to type the introductory paragraph for this section. And so after I've written all 5 paragraphs for this section, then I'm going to need to do another subheading. So again, I'm going to center it, I'm going to click on bold, and my next subheading is benefits of IWTs. And then again, I'm going to get rid of the centering, turn off the bolding, hit tab, and type another fantastic paragraph. And actually it's going to be 5 fantastic paragraphs because it's going to be my whole sort of mini essay on the benefits of IWTs. Now here's something that's a little bit different. Typically you wouldn't do this in APA formatting, but because of the way the specifications that we have for our paper, I'm going to recommend a 3rd subheading. So once again, I'm going to center, I'm going to bold, and I'm going to type the word conclusion. And I'm going to turn off the centering and turn off the bolding and indent, and then, oops, don't want that all in caps. Not that I suppose it really matters, since I'm not actually typing words, but there's my paragraph. Okay, so this is your introductory paragraph. It is 1 paragraph. Then you have your subheading for mini essay number 1. You're going to have 5 paragraphs in here. Each paragraph is going to be indented. So you're going to have an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Then you're going to have your subheading for mini essay number 2. Again, there's going to be 5 paragraphs in here. An introduction to aspect 2, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion for aspect 2. Then you're going to have your subheading for your conclusion, and you're going to have 1 paragraph here. This is your overall conclusion for your entire essay. And there you have it. That's how your essay is going to be formatted. So there's one other question that you probably have, and that's all about citing your sources, because it's a big deal. It's important to get it right, and again, it can be a very fussy thing to try to do by hand, but fortunately Microsoft Word is willing to help us with this. So let's imagine in my paragraph here under drawbacks of IWTs, this information is from a source, and I want to insert the source information here. So my cursor is here. This is where I want the in-text citation to go. So what I'm going to do is up here in my tabs, I'm going to click on References. And I want to make sure that under Style that APA citation is listed. So from that drop-down menu, just make sure it says APA 6th edition. So select that, and I want to insert a citation. I don't have any citations put in yet, so I need to add a new source. So this little Create Source box pops up, and I always recommend to click on Show All Bibliography Fields, because that will give you the ability to fill in as much information as you have about your source. But do note that the red stars mean that this is information that, that APA citations typically require. The next thing you're going to do is under Type of Source, you're going to select from this pull-down menu what kind of source is it that you are entering. You'll probably maybe have books, journal articles are pretty common as well. Websites are often pretty common, so those are probably the most common ones that you'll be selecting. So in this case, let's say it's a book, and for my author, I have 3 different authors of this book. So the first author is called North, and his first name is John. So I'm putting in last name, comma, first name, and then a semicolon. The next author is Smith, and her first name is Jane. So again, last name, comma, first name, and then a semicolon and a space. And the next author is Platt, comma, Ryan. So the authors are John North, Jane Smith, Ryan Platt. I've put each author's name in last, comma, first, separated by a semicolon. The title of the book is A Year in Review. Now here, be careful, because the computer can't correct capitalization or spelling errors when you're in this box. So it's really up to you to make sure that you're typing carefully. And the year is 2010. And the city is New York. That's where it was published. And it was also, I know that New York is in New York State, so I can fill that information in, even though it doesn't have a star. And the publisher was Random House. And again, be careful with your spelling and your capitalization. Okay, that's all the information that I have for that book. And it looks like that is all that I need, because nothing else here has a star next to it. Different items will be starred depending on what type of source it is. So I'm going to now click on OK, and look at what's happened within the body of my essay. That source has just popped up there. The only thing I need to do is make sure I put a period at the end of it outside of that last bracket. You'll see that Microsoft Word has correctly included all of the authors' last names, put an ampersand in between for the last one, and put in the year for me. Perfect. Now, maybe this was actually a quote, and as we know, if I have a direct quote, I need to also include a page number. Okay, no problem. All I need to do is click on my source, my in-text citation, click on this little drop-down menu, click on Edit Citation, and it says, oh, what do you want me to do? Do you want to add pages, or do you want to take away the author, take away the year, or take away the title? You might want to take away the author or the year if in your sentence you had mentioned the author's names already. So you might want to do that, but probably what you're going to need to do for the most cases is just add page numbers when you are quoting directly. So this particular quote was from page 32, let's say. So I add that in, I say okay, and now look what's happened to my citation. It's included the comma space p dot space 32. And so I think this is a great way to do it, because if you're trying to do this on your own, it can be really difficult to remember, where do I need spaces, where do I need periods, how much information do I need to put into that in-text citation. And as long as you fill in all the information that you can in that insert citation section, then everything that you need is there. So you're going to do this every time you need to put in a source. So if here, for example, I needed to put in a new source, so it's not from North Smith and Platt, it's for some other source. So again, I'm just going to go under Insert Citation, and I'm going to add a new source. That same box is going to pop up, and I'm going to fill it in. Maybe this one is from a journal article, and I'm going to click on Show All Bibliography Fields, and I'm going to fill in all the information that I need. If, though, this source, this information is from the same source, I've already loaded it in, I'm going to go under Insert Citation, and I'm going to click on this one, and there we go, it pops it in there. And again, if I needed to add in a page number, I could do that by clicking on the citation, clicking on the down arrow, and clicking on Edit Citation. If I noticed in here that I had made a mistake, maybe I spelled Platt incorrectly, I can click on Edit Source, and then I can make whatever change I need to make. Maybe it only had one T, I made a mistake there. And so then I can just click on OK, and it's going to say, hey, you've put this in lots of different places. Do you want to fix it all over? And yeah, I do. So now you can see both of these have now the corrected name. So that's just a little trick if you notice as you're going through that you've made a typo somewhere. So it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, so let's assume you've put in all of your sources. Your essay is pretty much done. All you need is the reference list. So one thing to remember is that your reference list should be on its own page. So if this is the end of my conclusion, I want to get to the next page. So I'm just going to go up here at the top. I'm going to go to Insert and Page Break, so that it just moves me to the next page, so I can start off at a clean spot. If you forget to do it beforehand, you can do it afterwards as well. So now, because I've entered all of my citation information into that Insert Citation area, it's really easy for me to create my references page. I'm just, again, going to click on the References tab, and here I'm going to select Bibliography, and I'm going to choose the bibliography that starts with references, because that's what APA Citation wants. It wants a page called References. So I click there, and my references pop up. Now, in our case, we had only loaded in one reference, but if you had multiple references, they would all be listed here, and they would be listed in correct alphabetical order. We can see that the computer has correctly reduced all first names to first initials. It's put in the correct periods and commas. It knows that a book title needs to be in italics, so it's done that for us. It's put in the place of publication and then a colon and the publisher. It does all of this formatting for us. It's really wonderful. The one thing though that it doesn't do for whatever reason is center the word references. So just highlight that, go to the Home tab, and click on the centering button so that references is centered. And there you go. That is, as far as I know, the quickest and easiest way for you to format your paper according to APA Citation. I hope this was helpful.